Evening, fella.
Hey, hi, and we're live again.
Good.
It's me and Jim. Jim and Vic, or is it Vic and Jim, or Vic and Jim and Vic? What should we do? I don't know.
Vic and Jim. You're
Vic
the
and Jim. So it's Vic and Jim talking rum, or talking something. Oh, where'd you go?
IT issues.
IT issues. So you're getting yourself set up.
I need to get an 8-year-old to show me how to work a laptop.
Yeah. So we were on for like 10 minutes before we started, and that's the first time it fell down. So there you go. So welcome everyone. It's Vic and Jim here. We're talking rum again. We're kind of carrying on for the last time when Jim started my rum education. Because you can see behind me, I've got a lot of whiskey, but I've not got a lot of rum. I've got one. The Outlaw Rum. So that's the only one I've got. So last time, myself and Jim just had a chat around about, I think we had about 6 or 7, had we?
It was about 6, I think, by the end of it, yeah.
It's probably what you could call a binge session, but we were only drinking a wee sip.
Yeah.
So responsible drinking, people, remember that at all times. So what me and Jim are going to do tonight is just have another yak around about these rums, but also taste it alongside the flagship, the Outlaw Flagship. So just to see what sort of things we can taste, aren't we, Jim?
Yeah, get some nose and taste profile and compare and contrast to see what different people are doing with these premium rums.
And continue my education in rum.
There we go.
Because I've got a nose, as you can see. I can nose stuff, but I've had really no experience in rum, so I'm just enjoying working with Jim. You can see I've got a few samples up here that we're working with Jim, and it's just great fun. And we thought we'd have another go looking at some rums tonight. So you've got another 4 for me tonight, Jim.
Yeah, continuing on the theme of sort of Caribbean and some of the South American style rums. So the 4 tonight are Santa Teresa 1796. Now, Santa Teresa was another one that you could get out of Venezuela. Solera style rum, like we discussed last time. This one's been slightly more difficult to get hold of in the UK, more so than Diplomatico. But again, that's one of the, where you knew where to get it, that was the one that you kind of went with the Diplomatico sort of standard edition. Then we've got
there's a lot comes out of Venezuela then, Jim.
Yeah, there's a couple of big, shall we say, distilleries that you're now able to get. But again, it's one of those things, because of the government base in Venezuela, things have started coming out, but yet the populace there, they're still queuing for rice, chicken, and toilet paper. It's a bit of an odd one because they've got a rich history of agriculture and rum and so on, but it's really only I've still sort of got a few, but it's really only Diplomatico with a couple of versions, and Santa Teresa's got a couple coming out. There'll be more coming, but again, it's quite limited. So you're kind of thinking an army general's got a mate somewhere and they're allowed to release a bit.
So it's oil, rum, and socialism that you get in Venezuela, is it?
That's about it. The 3 big hitters, yeah. So yes, it's sad that Venezuela's struggling because I think it's still the biggest oil reserves in the world are still under Lake Maracaibo, but it's a bit of an industrial wasteland.
But you said that Diplomatico, that was one we had last time, and I loved that one. That was from Venezuela.
Yeah. So Diplomatico. The other one that we're going to try out as well is the Diplomatico Reserva Exclusive. So that's the other version of Diplomatico. Now, these are 2 that are readily available. You're not going to get them in supermarkets, but Amazon, Master of Malt, any of the sort of whiskey online shops, and even up here where the stockists that stock Outlaw Rum, Aberdeen Whiskey Shop, Inverurie Whiskey Shop, Whiskey Hammer, others, you can start picking up Diplomatico and Santa Teresa now. So it is becoming more popular in the independent shops.
And it is a cracking colour, that Diplomatico one you've got for me tonight.
I know, it's got a really rich, dark amber colour.
Beauty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to tasting that one. Tell you what, though, Jim, before we get started, mate,
Yeah.
Love my hoodie that you got me. Absolutely love it. But I'm
Good.
absolutely
Roasted.
toasting. So I'm going to have to take it off. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But yeah, love it. Cheers, man.
That's all right.
Oh,
Get a bit
that's better. My head would have been shining, I think. Yeah, so we've got Santa Teresa, not 1976 that I said, but 1796,
Right.
and a Diplomatico, and we've got another couple that are a bit lighter.
So we've got Plantation Exo, which is we did talk about it a little bit last time, but Plantation are a company based in France. So there's a few in France who bring in cast or distilled rum, and then they finish it to their specifications using whichever casks in that country. So there's a few places. So Plantation's one of them. There's a couple more. So on the next one we do, there's a couple where we've got single sort of region rums, but this one's Exo, which is award-winning by the labels on the back, but it's obviously done in a sort of Exo cognac style cask, but it's they get in rum from different countries and then store it in cask by country if you want. So this one is aged or from Barbados, but it's their 20th anniversary. And then the final one is Don Q. So Don Q is Puerto Rico, but this one's the double cask finish. So they've done this in a sherry cask as well as having it in a American white oak barrel. So it's not bourbon barrels as a lot of them are matured in. But yeah,
I don't know if it's just because you've said it's been in a sherry cask, but as soon as I sniffed it then, I couldn't smell a sherry cask before, but I can smell it now. That's the power of suggestion, I think.
Actually, on doing it blind, it's funny because the Venezuelan ones you will get a hint more orangey citrus, shall we say? So Diplomatico, when we did it last time, it was light, but you were going back for more. But you got sort of Satsuma or a light orange flavor, and it was quite moreish. Santa Teresa is the same, but you actually get a bit more in there. It's not just orange and then it fades. It's there for a few more seconds. Plantation is a little bit different, but we'll talk about that when we're there. But the Don Q, because it's been in two different casks, you do get the vanilla-y notes that you get with the American oak, but you also get some of those sherry traits as well. You get a bit of fruitiness, but we'll go through it.
Excellent. So looking forward to it. So, and of course, we're going to have Outlaw all the way through it.
Yes, we are. So Outlaw will have compared and contrast. So,
well, you've got your Outlaw. I didn't use my Outlaw glass. I should have used that, shouldn't I? I'm all professional using my Glencairns, you see, Jim.
There you go. You showed me up. It's just so that I don't make a mistake and pick up the wrong one.
You know what? I saw someone doing that in a nosing and tasting live just at the start of lockdown and picked up the wrong glass. And it was really quite embarrassing, and quite a few people spotted it and unfortunately wrote comments about it. So, yeah, you don't want to make that mistake.
No.
Somebody will always be watching you. So what are we starting with, Jim? Are we going to start with Outlaw or are we going to start with one of the others?
Let's start with Santa Teresa. And
okay,
seeing as we started with Diplomatico last time, let's start with Venezuela again. And we'll give that a nose and a taste. And then we'll probably bounce back to Outlaw and then try a few others and just see. Remember how, like last time, the longer we left it, trying a couple, we were getting more things out. So I'd like to see if we get the same.
Yeah, it's interesting doing it relative. Sometimes you drink a whiskey or a rum, as it were, and you think, well, that's really nice. But the next time you taste it alongside someone else, it's not as good because the other one is so much better. I've noticed that in a lot of tastings. But this seems reasonably dark. Is that a darkish rum?
It's got an amber. It's not as dark as the Diplomatico Reserva, but it does have.
It's not as dark as the Diplomatico, no. But so I'm still getting used to the range in colours. Yeah. Oh, are you drinking it already?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right, isn't it?
Mm.
I'm still getting used to the sweetness of rum. I find it so much sweeter than single malt Scotch whiskey. When I started it, I didn't know if I liked it or not because it was so sweet. But I'm starting to find them really pleasant.
So this one, you're getting the sort of citrus peel, and you're getting some toffee and a bit of caramel in there, almost sort of fudge-like, like the fudge bars.
Yeah, there is toffee there. I got a very slight sort of green apple-y, which is unusual as well. It's quite light. But there's lots going on in the nose, isn't there? And there's a bit of vanilla on the palate as well.
Yeah, I got the I got the sort of citrus to begin with, and then it faded a bit, and then it came back with a bit of char, but then you get some really nice sherry sort of notes on the side, and a little bit of the spiciness.
That's a nice finish. It's not a long finish, but it's definitely drinkable without Coke, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not drowning that one.
No, but I think I asked you this last time, Jim. Most folk drinking rum, it's with Coke and stuff like that, is it? It's not drinking it neat like they drink a single malt Scotch.
No, but again, part of that is because we've never really had it here. And even now, you still have to do a bit of hunting to find something. It's rare to get a selection of Caribbean premium finish rums or rums that have been distilled, shall we say, in Caribbean, South America, and then somewhere. Those are only starting to really appear now. But again, it's one of those things where a lot of people will enjoy the sweetness, but like you say, some of them will still be looking for whiskey characteristics, which might not be straight away. But say with that Santa Teresa, you can find that sherryness on the tongue, and you get the spiciness on the side.
Well, that's definitely drinkable on its own.
Yeah, and a lot of them aren't. A lot of them you do not need to sort of water down. But if you had a single malt, and some people will add a little bit of ice or some water, it's something where you can play with a lot of these to do the same, just to get even more out of the profile.
Well, I'm getting a little bit of wood on the finish now, and even a little bit of chocolate. As the more it's developing in the glass, that's quite a pleasant rum, actually. I'm still not at the stage yet where I'm going to go out and buy a bottle of rum to drink as a single malt, obviously, with the exception of Outlaw. But I'm starting to realize there's so much out there, so much to choose from.
There is. It's interesting because we haven't got say maybe quite the diversity this time around, but these are some of the staples: Diplomatico, Santa Teresa. These have been the ones that, even with people who've traveled, whether it be in oil or something else, they are the ones you've more likely seen or been able to have, or something like a Mount Gay Exo or something like that, which is actually, it's not just a rum punch thing. It's not a white spirit that you then have, or a newly distilled young spirit that needs some citrus and a punch style tonic to try and calm it down a bit to make it more palatable, or it becomes a big long on a boat trip on a holiday somewhere.
Yeah. Excellent. So I'm going to have an Outlaw now.
The nose on it is.
See, that to me is different. Now I know the cask you've put it in, so I'm expecting that influence to come through, and it's definitely there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not whiskey.
No.
It's still very, very citrusy for me on the nose. I like that.
Yeah, there's quite a few things going on, like you mentioned, sort of the apple or the green apple, like almost that first bite of a Granny Smith. You get that lightness.
See, that's got more wood for me. More wood effect. More vanilla coming out of the woods. Yeah, both very nice though. But that's got a gorgeous woody finish.
That's got the wood, but it also comes up the back of the nose and the palate. So, and then it comes back to the middle of the tongue a bit stronger. Just coats the mouth.
It's got a bit of a longer finish as well. Probably because it's been in that wood for that little bit longer and taking some of the influence out of the whiskey wood. Very nice.
Very nice. I'm getting more. I'm getting, compared to the two, there was sort of the spice on the side of the tongue on the Santa Teresa, but there's quite a bit more with the sort of the orange peel, and then you get to vanilla and buttery notes.
There's a lot going on there, Jim, isn't there? And I'm assuming, you know, the next flagship run, although it's different casks and whatever, we're hoping it's going to be quite similar, but it's obviously not going to be exactly the same.
No, so because we're
the next batch
and still starting out, we've still got casks that were filled over a year ago, and so it'll be the same cask ratio that will go into the next bottling, but the next bottling will be, well, in 2 weeks' time actually. But we're actually doing another set of special releases.
Right.
So we're doing a single bourbon cask because there's been so many requests for it. Because people really want that sweetness. They want the vanilla and the sort of creamy, buttery notes.
Yeah, well, after me saying I don't like all that sweet stuff, I did like that one. I have to say. Did like the bourbon. Yeah.
And then the other one that we've already sort of decanted ready to go is the Islay cask. So there'll be another sort of Islay cask release. So it's two special releases. It's not any more flagship, but that sort of plan for the end of the summer.
Yeah. And we know you still have to persuade me on the Islay cask ones. I'm still not 100% certain there about that. It's weird. But it's like you say, there's so many people want that kind of flavour in their rum.
Well, it's not quite as black and white as Marmite. You know, it's not a love it or hate it thing, but especially if you've enjoyed Islay whiskies, and a lot of people who've said, you know, people have tried whiskey in rum cask with varying degrees of success, but rum in Islay whiskey casks, it doesn't get steamrolled by it, so it just adds to the profile, and it just keeps going and going.
Yeah, it was really interesting seeing how it developed. Yeah, I think to be honest, that is one thing where a wee bit more age is a wee bit better. But
tone down the smoke.
Just tone it down a wee bit. But it'll be interesting to see how they turn out. That's good. Okay, we're going to try this Plantation one.
Yeah. So Plantation this one's a Barbados rum. It's XO, so I'm assuming cognac or cask or similar, but it's their 20th anniversary.
Yeah. It's a bit light on the nose, a bit lighter than the last one.
Yeah. Still quite.
It's a little bit bland compared to the Santa Teresa.
Oh. Quite sweet though, isn't it?
And not much going on hugely compared to the Outlaw. But well, we'll see how it tastes. Oh yeah, get the sweetness there. That tasted better than it smells.
But that's like.
But it's gone. It's kind of sugariness, sweetness, orangey. And then, do you remember those? I don't know if you're old enough, Jim. When you were younger, did your mother give you little orange tablets in the morning. Halib orange or something.
Yeah. Okay. The little vitamin ones. The little vitamin sheets.
The little orange flavored ones.
Yeah.
That's what this tastes like. Those little orange tablets you used to get for your mum when you were a kid. I don't know if that's a good memory or a bad memory. Is that Rachel joining in?
Someone's coming in and taking the stock.
She'll be taking the Diplomatico, is she?
She just, well, the closest one to her was a Santa Teresa. And
anything.
Then it's a big smile.
So she's obviously feeling better then.
Aye, the jabs, the old COVID jabs. I think this afternoon's kind of kicked it a bit. Yeah. But it was a good 48 hours, though, I have to admit. I think most people I've spoken to have said the same thing, 48 hours and you're pretty clobbered. But then, like you were saying, like a bit of a dead arm.
Yeah, a bit of a stiff shoulder. That's 3 days now. So,
yeah.
But anyway, that's actually getting better. You know, the more you drink it, it's not really that bad actually. Quite like that.
No, I've just gone back to the Santa Teresa.
And better.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, when you get not polar opposites, but when you get different bits of the palate being affected, it brings out others. So that one being so sweet, the Santa Teresa then comes back quite strong with the wood and the sort of finish at the end. Not so orangey, but almost like that caramelized, like a tartar, something like that.
On the nose, I would prefer the Santa Teresa, but drinking it in the palate, I prefer that plantation one. It's really quite pleasant. I better have another Outlaw.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, the Outlaw's almost dry compared to that one. You know what I mean? That sort of mouthfeel. I don't normally get that with the Outlaw. But again, it's just, you know, trying them relative. That plantation is so sweet that the Outlaw isn't tasting sweet anymore.
Yeah, you get the dryness in it. It enhances the wood and the longer finish with the sort of spice on the side of the tongue.
Yeah, it gives it more of a mouthfeel and more spiciness when you drink it compared to that really sweet plantation.
I think that's possibly the sweetest rum I've tried.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to like that when I smelt it, but the taste is really good.
The funny thing is that
that's kind of growing on me.
It's, you know, like how in the first tasting we went sort of Diplomatico, then went down, then came back a bit, and just sort of on, you kind of find a level, and then you start bringing out particular characteristics.
That's it. I mean, I find that so strange last time, Jim. I don't know why. I should have, you know, look behind me. I've got all these whiskies, and I know they're all different, and they all taste different because they're from different places and different lengths of fermentation, different distillations. So they're all different. I don't know why I was so surprised when we tasted 7 rums last time, and they were all different.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I don't have that expertise, but they were all completely different.
But it's also like there's different distilling techniques. So a lot of the single malt whiskey, okay, each distillery has its, you know, it's copper still, and it's about the sort of bulbous base and conical shape of neck, length of neck, and then whereas with a lot of rum, some are doing that, but they also have the hybrid still in between a column still and the pot still. And then
so different types of distillation going on.
And in Trinidad, you know, they've been using column stills, I don't know for how long now, but they're putting in a second set of stills of continuous column stills now. So they're basically able then to double production. But again,
all right.
But that feeds into how dialed in are you to what you're getting off at which point in the distillation process.
Right.
The temperature, because it varies massively across the Caribbean. So Trinidad's temperature rarely drops below 28 degrees Celsius, more like it's hovering in the early 30s. And all you're really looking at is it going to rain today? So humidity is 100%, or is it down maybe if we're lucky in the 80s?
Right, okay.
And then you go to certain other places and they're in the mountains, or it's volcanic, so you can get up on the side of the mountain, so the humidity drops.
Right.
You're still able to distill cane sort of syrup or molasses in that process, but then in maturation, again, it's a totally different style of maturation. Because
they're going to have huge differences in losses, and it's not just the temperature that's important. Obviously, it's humidity.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose alcohol preferentially, or you're going to lose water. That'll really affect your maturation as well.
Trinidad was over 15% per year.
Right. See, that's a huge amount, but that's gonna create thermal currents as well, and it's gonna really speed up your maturation.
Exactly. So because of the heat, it's almost like you're steeping, like a really, you go to get a high quality tea and they come out with all the dry leaf stuff, and it's all about how many minutes you leave it in there. In my sort of poorly educated brain, it's more of thinking of the cask and the wood and the reaction. So if you take Scotland, which varies between -20 and sort of up into the mid-teens. Yeah, exactly. We get like 2 weeks of 16 degrees where everybody's almost got heat exhaustion. But, that in a granite bonded warehouse, it's kind of in the tens, and it's a sort of flat temperature, but you do get a change in humidity because of the water vapor. But then you put it into not even a granite block building, but maybe it's red brick or it's corrugated iron, where these casks are sitting in there and they are baking. So 3 years to 5 years of that, you've lost, what's that? Call it 4 years, you've already lost 60%.
It's a lot, isn't it?
So and you put that in perspective. In Scotland, 4 years you might lose what, tops 8. It's probably
1.5, 2 max a year. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's not a lot, but then the maturation, of course, is going to be slower. It's not, but that's very good. Okay, so what you got for me next?
Right, we're going to Puerto Rico now for Don Q.
Right, and that is an island. My geography is terrible.
Yeah, Puerto Rico, that's closer up towards Cuba.
Right.
So the dotted Caribbean islands go in a horseshoe, but they if you imagine a clock starting at 6 o'clock, but then you're going anti-clockwise up around towards Cuba, which is sort of 12, maybe 11:30 at the top of the clock face.
Right.
So almost, I wouldn't say boating distance from Florida, but you know what I mean? It's closer that way. Whereas obviously Trinidad is bang next door to Guyana and Venezuela.
So that's right down the bottom then, yeah.
Right at the bottom end. So you're very much more down on the equator, not in the hurricane area, that's further up the way. That's from St. Lucia up the way, really. But so climate-wise, it's still going to be hot, but it's not as hot, and it's not going to be as humid because you've got more of the breeze coming off the Atlantic.
So you seem, I don't think I've asked you this before. You seem to know a lot about that. You obviously lived there, worked there.
Yeah, so we were out in Trinidad for 4.5 years with the oil and gas industry. Right. So when we landed, that first year, we actually had bushfires where I only had like a water pipe and a rainwater tank on the top of the house. It was just like dribbling out to try and keep it. Because in dry season, everything goes so dry, the grass there turns to tinder. So all it needs is just a bit of friction or a bit of glass on the ground, and the sun's so hot, and it bounces from peak to peak. I've never seen fire jump before, but so
All right.
So we had 4.5 years where the weather was, you normally have wet season, dry season, and then you can start getting the sort of hurricanes at the end of the year, but that just coincides sort of with towards the end of the year and the hurricane season that then comes through. But yeah, we had 4.5 years in Trinidad and managed to tour around the Caribbean a little bit and made a lot of friends, but also just checking out the different cultures because each island's very unique.
Right. And ended up in Glass.
Ended up in the cosmopolitan centre of Aberdeenshire.
That the centre of the universe.
Centre of the universe.
Yeah, that Don Q is different.
That is far more towards like
that's really rich.
You've got it's not the sugariness of Plantation.
No.
But you get the sherry notes coming through.
Well, I was going to say it says double cask. What does that mean? It's been in 2 casks.
Yeah, this one. So Don Q. I keep going the wrong bloody way. So Don Q, Don Republic, or Puerto Rican rum, but it's finished in sherry cask, but also in American oak. So it's not bourbon cask like a lot of the ones that we had last time.
Yeah.
And traditionally, a lot of the rums are bourbon aged, but this one's American oak cask to begin with, and then sherry cask as well. So it's a double aging process.
Oh, that's right. You said that at the start, and I thought, oh yeah, I can smell a sherry cask now. But
like the Don Q,
something there.
Don Q have come out with variations on that. It's not necessarily age statement, but it's very much about the finishing and how they're maturing their rum.
Mm.
So they come up with it. There's a couple of different finishes. So our next one, maybe next month, I'll put in the other Don Q with it as well because they've got a couple of good variations.
All right. Well, that's really what I'm getting there, Jim, is a sort of one of those cheap chocolates that's coffee flavored. That kind of coffee chocolatey kind of flavor. It's really quite different.
It's not camp coffee. Remember the one last time?
No, it's not that. That was one of them last time. It's kind of, those chocolates that always get left in the end of the box, coffee flavored ones.
Yeah,
it's like that.
It's almost like so when we used to go hiking in Trinidad, there you used to get cocoa pods because the old plantations are still there. So the Trinitario bean is what a lot of high grade dark chocolate comes from, which is from Trinidad. Right. But you used to crack these pods, and it's actually a fruity flesh around the seed that's then baked in the sun.
All right.
Of that, it's kind of got that. It's fruity, but it's chocolatey. It's not.
Somebody's stealing your whiskey again, your rum again.
Yeah, the hand is going in. I'll have to take this off. I think.
The rum fairy. It's getting too hot, isn't it?
All right. The log burners.
We should have put on our Outlaw t-shirts as well. So that's not got a particular nose, but it's a very unique taste, I think. It's quite woody on the nose.
That nose just reminds me of a bonded warehouse.
Yeah, it's kind of sort of woody and earthy and musty, isn't it? Not in an unpleasant way.
But you get a little bit of sweetness, but then you get that oaky and woody.
Yeah, I'm not sure which is my favourite. No, that's quite nice as well. See how the Outlaw is compared to that. See, now that I know the Outlaw after that, this is just orange compared to that Don Q.
Yeah, it's like a very intense Grand Marnier sort of smell.
And you see, that's back to the Outlaw tasting sweet again, compared to that Don Q. And I just said it tasted kind of dry and not sweet compared to the Plantation. You know, sense of smell and taste and flavour. It's weird, isn't it?
You wanted to say hello.
Somebody else joining in.
Hello. Go on. Good boy. Stand you go on. Good boy. Yeah, no, I'm getting that. It's almost like a very orangey ta-ta-ta. You know, when you get that sort of very rich caramelized orange dessert where it's had a bit of alcohol, like flambe.
See, I'm really enjoying that Outlaw aroma now compared to the Don Q. Whereas, I don't know, Santa Teresa's got a nice aroma.
And it's stronger in the finish.
Yes.
Maybe not quite as obvious with the sherry, but there's more. Well, you're getting more spice and other things with it.
I'm getting a lot more vanilla on the Outlaw now when I'm comparing it to the Don Q.
Yeah, you're getting the sort of vanilla and then the creamier butter bits at the end, aren't you?
It's nice and sort of mouth coating, isn't it? Almost oily in the mouth, or just coating everything. That's nice. Excellent. Now I'm looking forward to that last one, Jim. I like the look of that one.
Yeah, that's the kind of the darker amber one of the lot, really, isn't it? So this is the Diplomatico, but it's the sort of bigger brother. So this is the extra reserve. I'm not going to butcher the language by trying to repeat that in Spanish, but it's Diplomatico Extra Reserva. So again, similar to the one we tried in the first session, if you want, or the first rum cast.
I'm assuming it's more expensive, is it, Jim?
Yeah, a little bit, not massively, but a little bit, not too much. But then, oh, the hand's gone again. But this one, a few people have started doing some rum or whiskey tastings and have actually, you know, pointed to this one as a sort of a good successor to the original Diplomatico.
All right. It's much bolder and richer on the nose. A bit woody, but not too woody.
What I'm getting there is more of that sort of like sweetness, but the
that is so sweet. That's almost like candy floss on your lips, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's almost nothing but sweetness on that, and it's very, very smooth, but quite a short finish.
You wouldn't say it's maple syrup, but it's got that, you know, maple syrup just almost hits you with that sweetness straight away.
It's almost syrupy, though. That is, I hate to use the phrase, it's almost sickly sweet, almost too sweet.
Yeah. But you're right, it's got that candy floss because it's there, it's light, but it keeps coming back. Yeah,
there's not a lot. It looks rich and smells rich on the nose, but to me, it's really quite thin on the palate. Not too oily, as in not a big mouthfeel.
No, not massive legs on it, but you're getting nose of like toffee and a bit of sweetness, and then it tails off. But then, as well, the taste and the finish is quite quick. Where the original Diplomatico was, is it had that light orangey flavor, and this one doesn't have that. And that was what was so good about the original one, because it was light, it was on the mouth, it would fade away, but you're always going back for more. Whereas this
that's almost like a dessert wine kind of thing.
Yeah,
you can have that with your pudding. You even pour it over ice cream or something like that, but not for the kids, obviously. But
I know I've got a couple putting their hand up, but
yeah, they would probably try it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's quite not cough syrupy, but it's heading down that route.
It's sweet.
Like,
I'm getting a bit of fruit on there now, sort of fruitiness, dried fruits.
Yeah,
a little bit of vanilla.
I can taste this.
You know what?
It's not Christmas cake, but it's like a very heavy Dundee cake where you get the fruits and the vanilla and the sort of butteriness with it, but it's lost some of that orange, which was so good in the first one.
It's got a really quite a nice nose now. I'm not sure about this at all. I don't know if I like this or not. Is it too sweet or is it good? Don't know.
No, it's too sweet.
Well, I'll tell you what though, Jim. 5 really different rums.
Well, I'm trying to give you that palate experience, mate.
No, that's too sweet. I've decided.
Because then that makes the Santa Teresa almost taste as dry as when we tasted the Plantation on the Outlaw. Because what you get then is, your wood kicks in, your spiciness, and any of the sweet notes are completely clobbered by how sweet the Diplomatico or the Plantation was to begin with,
I've gone back to Outlaw again compared to that Diplomatico, and that's a pleasant dryness in the mouth, which I don't normally get with the Outlaw. And the orange is being kind of amplified for me. But you know what, though, Jim? There's not one bad dram there, is there? If we're being really honest.
No, and it's kind of how you'd want to move it. And to be honest, if you've got a couple side by side and you were playing around with it on the evening, you could have a couple there and really mix and match and play around with it. It'd be good fun.
I couldn't drink too much of that Diplomatico, though. That's really quite sickly. Very, very sweet.
I thought the Plantation, when I'd tried Plantation before, years back, one of them I'd tried had been sweet, and I'd had it in my mind that it was too sweet. But trying the Exos, that's changed my mind. But, and you try and come in and be open-minded about these things. But the Diplomatico, I'm quite surprised how sweet that was.
Well, I've just finished my Plantation cup glass after that Diplomatico, and it is brilliant compared to the Diplomatico, and I'm so surprised at that. So I think the Plantation is kind of my level of sweetness, maybe there's a little bit too much. See what the Outlaw's like after that again.
Yeah, because I'm getting some funk now on the Plantation. After the sweetness is gone, I'm getting a little bit of almost banana, and then as they call it, you get the sort of rum funk on it.
Yeah, that kind of not real banana, but you remember those sort of foamy bananas, foam banana sweets, kind of artificial banana.
Yeah,
got that on it.
Yeah,
but they were good stuff, Jim. That was good fun.
Good.
Awesome. So will I be getting some more samples soon?
Yeah, I mean, I was planning to probably come over next week, and in the next 10 days anyway, drop off some more, and then what we'll do is we can set one up for the end of April, and then do another one if you want, and then it'll be a couple of different ones in there for you. So what we'll do is we'll probably do a couple like this one, a fairly balanced one. So we're getting a few from South America, a few from the Caribbean, and then just how well or how different the maturation is, because obviously there's quite a bit of a change due to climate, cask, distillation process. So those big three means that the spirit moves quite a bit. I mean, none of these, we had a few that were, I wouldn't say cask strength, but all these were sort of 40%.
Yeah, there was nothing there that felt really strong, I don't think.
No, all of these were 40% mark. So,
aye. And is that the kind of normal then? Because I like my malt whiskies. I love cask strength, and a lot of people just drink that. But rums more normally at 40, 41, 42, is it?
It is, but again, it depends on the market, because what you're finding now is in the States, per se, because it's so expensive to import something in, people are going for a particular market. So they're actually, at the minute, the trend there is for cask strength spirit. So you're looking at 44% and up. I don't think there's anybody selling anything over like 56%. But,
right.
So there's a real mix there. Whereas in most other markets, it's more of how the spirit balances. Does it do well at 40, or is actually 46 to 48? Is that the sweet spot for what you've got? But it depends what you're trying to do with that expression.
Right.
So, like you're saying, that the cask strength ones would obviously be a lot stronger in flavor, but would that actually take a little bit away from the flavor or the middle of the range, because it's going to numb your mouth a lot quicker than a 40%,
Well, that's true, and some people can't or can't drink cask strength, or don't like drinking cask strength because of the huge alcohol feel. So I know a lot of people who buy cask strength and then just put a little dribble of water in. It depends on the whiskey, so I suppose it would depend on the rum as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's something that we're looking at the minute, but all of our special releases, they're at like 43-44% mark. So we bottle them a little bit more just to give everyone a bit more out of it. But we will look at doing, when we get a little bit bigger, we will look at doing a sort of a special age release as well as a sort of a cask strength release.
Yeah. So lots of things coming in the future, though, Jim.
Yeah, well, we got when we're able to be close to other adults and chat normally, we'll have you over for the next delivery of rum, and we'll put it in casks. But
yeah, once we're allowed to travel between, mind you, it's work, but you have to, have a bit of respect once we can travel over regions or whatever. So hopefully we'll be able to do that real soon.
Exactly, because we got our last delivery just at the start of March there, so that's now car. So we've stocked up for the rest of the year and into next year. But there's there's 5 or 6 Islay casks now. There's 3 or 4 different bourbons, and we've got 5 different Speyside casks, and we've got a couple of different Highland casks, with also one big Oloroso ton, 500 litres worth.
Well, somebody has to get their birthday present, I suppose, haven't they? So
there we go. Yeah. Santa Claus delivered. Yeah,
that's it. But what it is showing, Jim, is the amazing difference that the different casks have in maturation. I mean, I've been saying that for years to do with whiskey, but we're seeing that with the rum as well. You put the same rum into different casks, and even what looks like the same casks, and they're coming out different expressions, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's been a real eye opener for me, because we're standardizing on our rum blend is our rum blend. It's 3, 5, 7, and 10-year-old rum. It comes to us, and there's always going to be a little bit of movement in terms of profile, just because there's so much natural and environmental machinery going on in the background between the cask, the rum, what's been going on for the 3 to 10 years that's been maturing in that cask. But with blending the rum, you can get a fairly good consistency, on the profile, nose, taste. But like you say, within a year of being in a different cask, we're getting a massive difference between, obviously, if you put it in the smokiest Islay cask versus a very light bourbon cask. One, you're getting, as you would class it, bonfire and barbecue smoke, but a rich bit in the middle with orange and spice, and then bonfire comes back, and then you put it in bourbon cask, and what you get is you get the sherry and the orangey notes, but then you get that smooth, buttery, creamy finish that just keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't even have to talk about Islay casks to get differences. I mean, you put it in a cask from a Speyside distillery, a Highland, and a bourbon. It's all American oak, and no peat, but you're getting differences even in those casks, and different bourbon casks are given different expressions. It's a great. It's fun seeing what comes out.
Yeah, definitely. The filling bit. I was chatting to a friend of mine, and he was saying, "Oh no, that's just the fun bit. That's not work. That's just fun."
What, filling the casks?
Yeah, because I never appreciated before we started this journey of, you have things in your job which can be tactile. So are you writing in a fountain pen? What are you doing? What manually are you touching that's textural? You're not just looking at a screen and typing away like a gopher.
Yeah.
But when you're lifting the cask, so you open up the cask and you get the smell of the distillery and how that spirit has reacted with that cask, then you fill it, so you get the rum mixing with the wood, a bit of that spirit, and you get the vapor coming out at you, and then per cask. So by the time you've done 4 or 5, that warehouse has just got a magical smell.
Well, I think I told you, Jim, when I started my journey in management with Diageo, it was down at Aberfeldy in Blair Athol.
Right.
And one of the first jobs of the day was to fill the casks.
Yeah.
And it was the old style back then, the mid-90s, and you used to weigh a cask, fill it, weigh it again. And I was the one who had to sit down and write down the weights. And I'd just be sitting there, smelling what was going on and writing down the numbers, and just the feel of the casks and that old style warehouse. And warehousing and filling is a fantastic part of the business. So I get why you're enjoying it so much. Because it didn't feel like a job, did it?
No, it wasn't, and it
doesn't feel like work.
No, and because we'd already had great feedback from the first Islay cask, so we were filling more of the same, but the others as well. And even though they're only a few miles apart, how they are maturing their spirit and what they're using it with. I mean, none of it was Lefroy cask or anything like that, but some of it you were getting a sort of slight sea salt smell, but with the smoke. Others, it was just a lot of smoke, but you're getting some sweetness with it. But the rum with that would mixing, and it's fantastic. And always when you go in,
if you're into your Islay whiskey, some folks say, "Oh, that's just smoky, that's just peaty." No, it's not. They're all different. Right. Different distilleries will give you different whiskies. A Kalila is near the same as a Kilchoman, near the same as a Lagavulin, as a Bunnahabhain, as a Bruichladdich. They are different.
Right.
And so I'm not surprised you're smelling differences from, if you've got different Islay distillery casks, you're going to be smelling lots of different stuff.
But it's good because we've got it. We're doing some good work with the cooperage at Speyside. So we've narrowed down selections and we've tried moving the spirit. But like you say, even the Speyside casks going with a very well known Speyside distillery, and they're known for like a creamy or a sweet or a light palated whiskey. we're still getting movements, you know, between distilleries that state that they've got the same palate, and they have to a point, but rum in that cask after their whiskey's been in there, and you're getting differences. You know, some you're getting a bit more orangey notes, some or citrus, or like that almost like the Christmas cake chopped peel that you put in to the Christmas cake, and others you're going very much more to the vanilla case, or you're getting those buttery notes coming out. So yeah, it's there's a bit of alchemy going on there.
That's the magic that's happening. It's the magic inside a cask.
Oh, aye.
And that's what I love about the whiskey industry and being involved in that. But to be involved in the project with yourself as well, and to see that happening with rum, you know, that different base material is fascinating as well. Yeah. So so long may it continue.
Yeah, well, more happening. So I think we'll be, hopefully everyone can get out and about soon, and then we'll all be feeling a bit better about ourselves, and we can get back to social animals and getting on with life.
Yeah, and we can we'll sit around a table real soon when we're allowed, Jim, and I'll give you some education.
There you go. Now we're talking.
In the whiskies. So anyway, so that's great. That's an hour already, so that's time up.
Good.
We had a few on. I didn't see any comments coming through, so I'm not sure if my StreamYard's maybe not working properly. I didn't see any comments. But I'll go on and have a look later once we've finished.
Okay. Mate.
But for those of you that were watching, I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know. I had a good time again. Another few drams. Rachel looks like she had a good time as well. So say hello to Rachel for me.
Will do. She's muttering in the corner which one she liked.
Muttering in the corner. Muttering over her Diplomatico.
Santa Teresa.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll see you real soon, Jim. Okay.
Magic. Take care. Cheers, Vic.
Right. Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining us. Keep looking at our channel, and we'll have some more of these real soon. Yeah. See you all sometime.
I think we'll pencil in sort of the last week of April. We'll do another one, so in a month's time.
Brilliant. Okay. Cheers, Jim. See you later, guys. Bye now. Bye.